All right, this uh, iOS tutorial is going to be about variables, scope, and properties. Okay, a variable is basically a container for data. The best way to describe a variable is perhaps to show it. So here, this is a variable, this is a variable, and it's also, you notice this is the name of the class, and this is like the object it points to. It's the same thing. Objects can be variables. It's just a container for data. Okay, and scope is basically the extent, the areas within the code from which you can access, read, or write that data. Okay, and depending on where you declare things, the variable has a different scope. So that changes the portions of the code where it can be modified. We're going to start from the variable with the highest scope, basically, the type of variable. And that variable is a property. So if you notice, you remember from the earlier discussion, anatomy of an H&M file, the at property, anything that's in this block is visible to other classes. And here is no different. Essentially, what we did here is we're making a variable that is visible to other classes. In this case, it's a string. So what we do to do that, to access this, what I did was, if we go to our app delegate.m, you can forget about some of this. Here, we don't need that. We don't need that. The first thing I had to do was get the object that basically when this starts. I need to get the core object, the core view controller object. So I used the application .windows array. I got that, and I got the window, and then from the window, I got the root view controller of the window. So this is a little complicated, but that's basically what I'm doing, is trying to grab the exact object that is created when the interface builder instantiates itself. Now, why couldn't I just do this? All right. Maybe no, just view controller. I can't just do this. And the reason is I want to grab a very specific object. And this, although it would be the same class, an object of the same type, it does not the same object because I'm creating a new object. I want to get the object that specifically is created when this application starts. So that's why I have to go through these two lines. That's what these two lines do. Then from there, I can access the property by putting dot name of property, and then I simply set the property equal to this object, which is a string literal 5 ones. Okay, and in here, so basically what you should take from this is properties can be accessed even from other classes. So it's one of the most expansive scopes. Here we have an instance variable. Okay, you declare these by, in your implementation, you put a bracket here and a bracket here, and anything in the middle is an instance variable. In actuality, this property here, behind the scenes, it's actually an instance variable as well. Okay, it's a little complicated, but basically when you declare this, the compiler creates an instance variable named underscore string 1, and then it creates two methods that allow you to set the value of string 1 and get the value of string 1. So in some ways it's the same, but the difference here is we don't have this public thing in our interface to access it. So you can access it here, but you have to use something called KVC. You cannot do vc.string2. It won't show up. It'll throw an error if I try to do it. See, so basically the purpose of this instance variable's scope is it's usable in any of the methods in this class. So here in view.didLoad, we set this string equal to 22222. Okay, easy enough. And then the third type of variable is one that you declare in the method itself. So you see here we declare string 3 and we set it equal to 33333. This string, however, can only be seen inside this method viewDidLoad. So if I try to go over here in this method called example method and I type string 3, it doesn't know what that is because it can't see it. It can only see what's in this method. On the other hand, if I type string 4 and I set it equal to @444, it can use that. That variable is local to this method. And now when I run this, it's going to illustrate the what we've done so far. So remember, we set them all equal to like 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. This is 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, and 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. So that's what should output on the screen. Or in the log, basically. Not on this screen. Look over here in this log, and you'll see 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. And we were able to set these values from all different locations in the code. Basically, but the thing to understand is basically you don't have to. You can also set this locally. I could also override this here and say self.string1 is equal to element op. Okay, and then when I run this, it says element op, element op. Easy enough. So it's great. In terms of scope, I'm defining it in terms of its greatest possible scope for this example. Okay, you'll notice though with string 1, what I did here is it prints 1, 1, 1, 1, 1 twice, and I kind of access it 2 different ways. And if you remember, I said properties behind the scenes create a getter, a method to get the value, a method to set the value, and it creates an instance variable. Basically, the name of that instance variable it creates behind the scenes is going to be underscore and string 1. So that because in the name of the variable, because our variable's name is string 1. So that's the instance variable it created. Basically, the compiler creates it automatically, and this is actually using the getter method to get the value. So I accessed it 2 different ways. And you can also, and when I did this up here, self.string1 equals something, element op, this uses the setter method. So that's all 3 things it basically automatically created for you just by declaring that property. In old Xcode, it didn't automatically do that for you, and you would create another instance variable here called underscore string1, and then use a @command synergize it with the property. You no longer have to do that. So I think this about sums up what I wanted to cover for variables. This has been another iOS tutorial.